Welcome back. According to New York State data from March 2024, the maternal mortality rate for Black women is 5 times higher than for white women. And our next guest has a new documentary titled You Are Not Alone, focusing on the public health disparity that is Black maternal health. The project is the director's first film and is now entered into the festival circuit. Joining me now is the film director of You Are Not Alone, Brittney Russell.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Congratulations as well
Thank
with
you.
everything you're doing. To start off, tell me a little bit about You Are Not Alone and the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, so You Are Not Alone started as a project through Harvard's Media and Medicine program. So it was never intended to be a documentary. It's supposed to be a class project. And I started it because my field is in health inspections, and I saw the stark differences between downtown, Tribeca, Chelsea, and then the inspections uptown, and the mothers that had access to health care or even having a nanny versus mothers uptown that didn't have that. And I started to question, how mothers downtown were more relaxed when dropping off their children versus, women who are on 125th Street or women who are, on White Plains Road. And I had to start questioning, well, if the mothers are, exhibiting stress, then surely the babies that they're carrying are feeling that same stress from mom. So that's how this all started. And just doing research in the neighborhood, I was actually shocked at all the statistics that came up in the Bronx and how we are the highest of everything that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, when you even read those numbers, what are your initial reactions? And obviously, you're someone who's studying the data now, looking at it. More questions are starting to spark. What is your initial reaction when you see all that?
Oh, we need to fix it, and we need to fix it quickly. And due to everything changing within this country, it's only going to get worse if we don't step in. And I think healthcare providers and advocates are doing the work, but we as a people in the community can do the work as well.
Yeah, now, of course, something that I really enjoyed reading more about your work is that you did say medical stories are just as important as the practice. And you talk a little bit about merging that public health with media as well. What was that journey like to be able to take two passions?
Oh, well, I wanted to go to medical school initially, and that's I joke about this a lot. Every Caribbean parent's dream to hear that their child is not going to medical school, but they're going to focus on the arts. But I got very lucky in that my passion for medicine never changed. I just wanted to expose it differently, and that happened in 2017 when I went to Ghana and Nigeria with my dentist, and he performs free dental care, and I got the chance to document through photography. And I'm like, this is how medicine is supposed to feel, not just the hospital setting, but beyond meeting people where they are. And so when I got into the Harvard program, I was super excited to know that my passion and the thing that I always wanted to do, which is exposing healthcare through a different lens, was able to collide. And it was a beautiful collision at that.
I mean, it is. And to see, obviously, you merging your passions, I mean, that in itself, I feel like is such a beautiful thing that we all also aspire to sometimes, to make change with something that we love doing. Obviously, through this journey, you do interview so many voices from local people who have experienced it. You even mentioned some friends, even our Bronx Borough president.
Yes.
How was it like to do all those interviews and collect all that information from real life experiences?
Yes, I was honored. Vanessa Gibson is a person who is dedicated to this, and that was the most exciting part. She's not just saying these statistics because it's her job. She's actually in the communities and speaking with women as well. And so between interviewing her and my friends and doulas, just gathering all this data, knowing that there is work being done, but we need to really hone in and see where else we can help. We have advocates who are constantly, even right now, going to hospitals and advocating for the patients and the women that are in there. But we can always do more, and more can be done.
Yeah. Now, of course, when you say that even of we can do more, why do you think the disparity happens, or where does something kind of drop off of taking care of, especially like our Black maternal people who are suffering, obviously, mainly from these issues?
One thing I found was that, by the time you have the baby, there are so many factors that are already leading up to it. Where you live, due to my job, I've had to enter NYCHA buildings. And if you are so constantly worried about your heat being cut off or your water, and then you have to go wait for the bus and you're going to miss your prenatal appointment, these are little things that lead up to the big picture. And if you can't control the small things, if you have to go all the way across town to get the freshest foods and produce, because the Bronx has also a food desert issue, then these are things that are compounded on top of a larger issue. And we need to really focus on the why. Why is the Bronx desolate? You know, and when you start looking at that, then you can realize, yeah, we have the highest maternal health mortality because of these things.
Yeah, I mean, when you also talk about that as well, something that stood out to me is that 73% of pregnancy-related deaths had at least some chance of being prevented. When we hear those numbers, hear that it can even have been prevented, what are specific factors or interventions do you think that we should be doing to make these changes or differences?
We need to promote doulas. We need to have more access to doulas. And we also need doctors to listen. And we also need medical providers to not just meet us at hospital settings, but in our communities. We need people that practice medicine to meet us on a regular basis, because I think there's a cultural disconnect a lot of times between someone who you see for maybe 12 hours or however long labor is versus a doctor knowing you as a person and seeing, oh, you know, she lives here. I can see why she's so stressed out. I can see why she has constant headaches. So we need to be more into the lives of our patients rather than just a 12-hour to 48-hour moment.
Yeah, I think another thing that also works, and I feel like I mentioned to you, I was watching the trailer even, and just seeing the voices, how it also kind of inspired something of like, wait, let's learn more about this, let's talk about it more. And I think you're doing that of starting even the conversation for many people. With having your film out there now, making the festival circuit, what has been the reaction, you'd say?
Oh, people love it. I was actually nervous because I told my subjects, say whatever you want, and they were like, great. And I was really proud of them for allowing me into their lives to expose something that's very personal and very tender, and sometimes it could be traumatic to just remember that moment and having your body catch up. But they loved it, and you know, people are saying they want to see it again, so I'm really hoping that it gets out there and it could become more accessible to everyone.
Yeah, and I read you also had it showcased at the Bronx Museum of the Arts to show it in our very own borough at that too. How was that?
That was amazing. We travel everywhere else to see cinema, and I think that the Bronx Museum is a beautiful institution, and we need to stay in the Bronx because it gives us so much, and we need to be contributing to that vicinity as well.
Yeah. Now, obviously on the filmmaking side as well, I wonder for you, obviously you are kind of taking on these energies, hearing these stories firsthand. How do you kind of just, you know, still practice that self-care and not overwhelming yourself as well as someone who wants to tell the story? But it can be a lot. It can weigh a lot on you.
Yeah, definitely community. My friends who actually helped me put together the event for the Bronx Museum, they have been my support group, my mother, and definitely therapy to just know that I cannot carry everything with me after it's filmed, but to be able to talk about, like, you know, this one subject, I really want to just check in on her to make sure she's okay, because it was a lot, and I really think therapy and community have gotten me through this process.
Yeah, and I think you're definitely building that therapy and community in a sense through this documentary. Obviously it is showing now in the festival circuit. What is next for obviously the film? How is that journey to now having more people see it?
Oh, I definitely wanted to put it into institutions, preferably medical institutions, and also community-based realms as well, just to have people see the Bronx in a different way. It's not just bad, you know, oh my gosh, these are things happening, but it's a beautiful community, and we need to appreciate it more, and I want to show the world, hopefully, that medicine is not just these corridors, these rooms that you're in. Medicine is in the arts as well.
Yeah, and we're going to manifest it, okay? Showing it to the world.
Yes.
At that. I mean, when people do watch the film, we obviously know the statistics you're addressing, the people that we're going to listen to and hear from. But what do you hope the viewer takes from it?
To listen to your body, to not be shy to say something hurts or something's uncomfortable when you are in the presence of a medical professional, but to also trust yourself and to have more people around you that can advocate for you, because you're going to need people to lean on.
Yeah. I mean, with that as well, I wonder for you, obviously, through your journey of collecting these voices and hearing from them, anything that specifically shocked you or that was surprising to you, obviously, that we may not see on the data side, but now that you're in it with these people that you're hearing and seeing from them?
Yeah, medical negligence is not just a big, you know, moment. It starts smaller than you think. It's with the doctor assuming something is wrong with you rather than asking you. So, you know, picking up on cues like that are very hard, but I think everyone needs to, when they're in the presence of anyone that's in a medical setting, to slow down and really ask, what do you mean by that? What does this mean? How is this information impacting myself?
Yeah, something you also mentioned to me earlier was that the important aspect of our elected leaders, or even down to like our public health people who take care of us on day to day, you know, how important is it for them to maybe join this conversation, see this film, be a part of this change as well?
They'll excel the change. We need people who are in the spotlight, and I'm going to be very honest, we need more people who have weight in the society to say, this is happening, I see it happening, what can we do to take it a step further?
Yeah. Now, seeing your journey, of course, from conceptualizing it, even being in medical school, to now being a filmmaker, merging both, how do you reflect back on this kind of journey that you've had?
Oh, I wouldn't change it. I would go through every struggle, every, oh my gosh, I didn't know this camera was so expensive. Every little misstep has led me to this really great project and experience, and I'm really excited just to continue making films.
Yeah, you're obviously shedding light on something so important, especially in our community. Anything else we can expect when it comes to merging health, media, or future projects, you'd say?
Yes, I'm actually in the process of a documentary for my friend's uncle, who was a former martial artist, and how his love for martial arts has impacted the community in Harlem. So that's coming out soon, and it's another community-based film, and I'm definitely happy to be a part of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if our viewers even who may be watching and are inspired by your journey, and that, you know, sometimes it's not so linear, and that you continue to find your passions along the way, what advice would you give them about discovering their passion, blending multiple even passions at that?
Yeah, always stay true to your why. There are going to be a lot of factors that come your way, but you also have to remember why you're doing something, and that can't change. The factors around you will change, but you can't change your why. So continue to pursue it.
I love that you mentioned that, especially every year I choose like my word or my phrase of the year. And this year my phrase was, don't forget your why.
We have to remember it.
Yeah, so important. And again, the work you're doing is important. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Amazing. With that, to learn more about Brittney's film, please go to the website bmrfilms.com. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us, and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast at 5 and 8 p.m. tonight on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Fios 38, or watch anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darian Jaime on Wednesday and with Rina Valentin on Friday. I'm Jonathan Calixto. Stay informed, stay inspired, and stay safe. Until next time.